You came at the right time.
Good day, everyone. We'll have another topic, which is on the information age. Okay, so this is our intended learning outcome. You should be able to link learn concepts to the development of the information age and its impact on the society. Okay, so we begin with the definition of information. Okay, so these are facts provided or learned about something or someone. Merriam-Webster defined it as knowledge obtained from investigation, study, or instruction. It may be intelligence, news, facts, and data. Okay, so something such as message, experimental data, or a picture, which justifies a change in a construct that represents physical or mental experience or another construct. Okay, so everything that we see, everything that we're able to grasp through our senses. So these are information. Okay, so again, it may be intelligence, news, facts, or data. Um, so this is how let's say evolved from the pre-Gutenberg world up until the present. Okay, so during the pre-Gutenberg world, it's impossible to distribute precise, replicable information to a large number of people. Okay, because during this time, they have to rely on um, they have to it's not like at present where we have social media where we can easily share information in different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, um, Twitter, and even we even use some other platforms such as YouTube and among others. Okay, so information can be captured. By the way, during this time, again, the difference that they don't have this technology that we are enjoying at the moment. So again, it's very impossible to distribute information. So information may be transmitted through by word of mouth or by writing. Okay, and we know that once information is transmitted from one medium to another, or from let's say from one people to another, it may be distorted. It may be changed or whatsoever. Okay, so information could be captured in the laborious and time-consuming manner. So it's true. Information can really be captured. However, it takes time. It's very laborious to capture such information. Okay, so um, again, we'll go back to the definition that it's very difficult on their part because the medium of communication or the medium of transferring information is not wireless, not like today. So information was restricted to a small elite group. Okay, so only those who have standings in the society are able to access the information. Okay, so most likely because these people are well off, or they're coming from wealthy families. So again, they are able to hold, or they're able to access such information. So it is much like if we're going to put it into to put it into an analogy, okay, between two individuals, one who can't afford to study, and the other one maybe because he or she is poor, and the other one is an individual coming from an elite family. So of course we expect that that particular individual can afford um, uh, her parents, his or her parents can afford him to send to school. So basically, he'll be able to access that information. Okay, and that information will be within among other elite individuals. Okay, so they'll be able to share this one. Okay, but those who are from marginalized or poor sector, so it's very challenging on their part because they won't be able to access such information. Okay, transmission of knowledge thereafter had to rely on purely word of mouth channels, then adapted to the use of narrative or hierarchy as a means of propagation or control. Okay, so society tended to be dominated by religion and feudal political system. Okay, so this means that information was somehow these are controlled by religious sector and some feudal political system. So we can consider them as elite groups. Okay, yes, we can consider them as the elite groups. So they are the ones who have access to information, and they are the ones as well who have rights to share, disseminate information. Okay, so it's very fortunate during the Gutenberg Revolution that information was then was a bit easier to channel or to transfer. Okay, because during this time, the introduction of printing press was revolutionary in its impact. So printing press was the catalyst for the Renaissance. Okay, for the rebirth. So Gutenberg principle can be expressed as the fact that mass distribution of information is possible, but then again, it's expensive. Okay, so again, during the pre-Gutenberg world, during that time, it's very time consuming and laborious to capture information and even with distributing information. So during this time, distributing information to a large number of people. So during Gutenberg Revolution, so the distribution of information now to a large group of people was a bit easier compared with the pre-Gutenberg world, but then again it's very expensive because the information has to be put into books. Okay, so I have here some example in the Philippine context. Okay, so the second figure shows the first book printed in the Philippines by being chiseled on blocks of wood in 1593. So this book contained the teachings of the Roman Catholic, and we also have the third figure released in 1637 and was translated as "Fortunate Events" since it was the first Philippine newsletter that reported about the battles won by the Spaniards. So this was printed by Thomas Pinpin, the father of Filipino printing. Okay, so again, during that time, it was easier to transfer or to distribute information, but then it becomes expensive because let's take the second figure. So the medium is through woods. So the letters has to be chiseled, and it takes time. It's very laborious, and so when this information is to be distributed with another or with some groups of people, so this has to be bought. Okay, so with this, the effect of the Gutenberg principle was the rise of institutionalized and mediated channels. However, the basic structure of the Gutenberg principle has not changed. So it still costs lots of money to distribute information to a mass audience. Okay, so because there were printing press then during the time of during the Gutenberg Revolution. So this printing press serves as the institutions or the mediated or yes, they were the institutions who were credible who were reliable to distribute this information. Okay, but again, we cannot discount or discredit the fact that it's very costly to access this information. Okay, so during the post-Gutenberg world or the post-Gutenberg, yes, the post after the after Gutenberg revolution, so we have now the emergence of the internet and World Wide Web in the 1990s, which was initially hailed by many as ushering in a new democratic age driven by much greater access to information. Okay, so it is not. During this time, it is not too expensive to access information aside from the fact that we need to buy loads or what do you call this one mobile data or internet data to access information. And with a small amount of money, we can enjoy surfing through the internet, accessing this information. We don't need to buy any more printed materials, because then again, whatever news are printed into these newspapers, magazines, they're also available in the internet. Okay, so the internet then had a dramatic impact, but revolutionary shifts predicted did not occur. So it required both money and technical expertise to build a website, access a server space, and publish information. Okay, so uh, here, what is costly is now for the part of these publishers, or for these publishing institutions. But for us, again, it's not difficult, because we can easily access this information. For example, we'll take the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Okay, so um, the reporters are working 24 hours to capture information, to write news, and these reporters are being paid. Okay, so these news streams or news channels have already have their own social media platforms or social media sites. And although some information are printed, well, we don't know if some information, or those information which are printed in newspaper, are also are printed all or published all in the internet. But at least there is some information which we can get through their websites or through the social media accounts, such as Facebook, such as Instagram, Twitter, and among others. Okay, so and it's for on our part, it's not too expensive to access this information, because even Facebook provides free subscription, meaning to say, even if we have load credits, we can still access Facebook, and so we'll be able to access these news channels. Okay, so still the preserve of institutions, rather individuals. Okay, so again, it's the institutions which regulate the distribution of information. So the reality of much greater access to information was not matched by greater ability to publish it. Okay, so this is what I said a while ago. It's easier for us to access information, but for the part of the publisher, it is very laborious on their part to capture information and to distribute information online. Then speed of access also limited the ability of the internet to be a channel for all forms of media, restricting its use to text-based and transactional forms. So these are the trends and development offered with the internet. The spread of broadband internet access made it possible to easily both upload and download all forms of media. These may be video, images, and audio, as well as text and transactions. So these are published in YouTube, or these information are published in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So tools emerged which made it simple for people to publish or spread information, such as blogging and vlogging. Okay, so this is the trend right now. In fact, there are still a lot of bloggers. They still exist, but I think our interest at present shifts to vlogging. We watch influential persons vlogging over YouTube, and so it's easier for this person to publish or spread information, and it is no longer it is not regulated by institution. So for example, in my case, I have my YouTube account. I can publish my lectures there, and that's my way of spreading information. Okay, so also gathering significance based around attaching relevance and context to all of the otherwise random pieces of information now being published. So this trend is responsible for creating forms of collective intelligence and what has been called crowd wisdom, and it's probably the most important area to watch going forwards. Okay, so why we need to be particular of this one. One reason is um, although it's easier for us to publish or to disseminate information, but these are also avenues for us to proliferate to or to give fake news. Okay, so it is no doubt at present that the proliferation of fake news is a very controversial issue, because again, it is no longer the distribution of information is no longer institutionalized. It can be individual. So, for example, I will write certain fake news about a certain politician, so I can just publish it. Okay, but I have to be careful, also, because there are I might be sued for that. Okay, but then again, um, I might just use some strategies in a way that I will not be tracked. So then again, but I was able to publish misinformation, or to proliferate or to disseminate fake news. Okay, and so by that, again, this is one of an important area that we should watch going forwards. Okay, so even our major news outlets adapt with a change of time. So they have now these platforms. Such as GMA, the Inquirer.net, ABS-CBN, and even Rappler. Okay, so again, they have these platforms. So far, I'm only familiar here with YouTube. We have Viber, Pinterest, Instagram, Skype, LinkedIn, yeah, Facebook, Twitter, of course. We have G Suites and Google Chrome. Okay, and among others. Okay, so the post-Gutenberg principle, information can now flow between one individual and all of the potential individuals for whom that information might be of relevance, without any form of significant institutionalized intervention. So this is what could be called the post-Gutenberg principle, although perhaps a better term would be social information principle. Okay, so in very general terms, the social information principle is likely to generate a very powerful disintermediating or de-institutionalizing effect, which in theory could have consequences for society at least as significant as those generated in the first instance with the development of the printing press. Okay, so to understand the post-Gutenberg world, there are essentially three ways in which the post-Gutenberg world is already intruding. So these are the following. The decline of institutions and business for home information mediation is their principal function. So um, when we say decline or slide into irrelevancy and obsolescence, it's because, as what I've said a while ago, so it's everybody can publish information online. It may be through blogging, or it may be through vlogging, and these individuals are not regulated by institutions, so they might publish it's either a correct information or even incorrect information. So that's one problem of the social media age, or of the post Gutenberg world. The rise of transparency and the challenge to institutionalized trust. Okay, so we build our trust based on transparency. Okay, so we do not just build a certain institution just because um, it is composed of expert individuals, but rather we look into transparency. How transparent are these people? How transparent are these individuals in terms of reporting, in terms of capturing information? How sure are we that they are giving us correct information? Okay, and so again, we rely on transparency for us to build trust to a certain institution. Okay, so the challenge to markets posed by reduced cost of entry and ability to service niche demands. Okay, so the end of institutionalized mediation models. Okay, so media, music, and film business were the first to feel the impact of the end of Gutenberg. So Ron Blum, CEO of Miveo, made the case in 2006 that within 5 years, 50% of the media consumers consume would be produced by other consumers, that is social media. Okay, so let's take this example. um, so a fan of a musician told his idol that I'm a big fan. I've downloaded all your music files. Okay, so this is now what they said that um, the music and film businesses were actually affected because this music should have been should have copyright, okay, and they should have enjoyed royalty fee. But then again, since it's available anywhere online, we can just download music, videos, images, and among others. So why do we have to pay? Okay, so that with that, these business industries are really affected. Okay, so next is transparency and trust. Okay, so in the Gutenberg world, trust was institutionalized. Okay, so meaning to say, again, as I said, we trust a certain we trust a certain organization because of the composition of individuals working in it. So these individuals are, of course, expert. Okay, so organization work to establish a reputation such that people would trust anything and everything they did without feeling the need to interrogate it for themselves. Okay, so the one flaw in this model was that if anything caused the people to doubt this representation, so this would undermine their confidence in the whole institution and cause them to lose trust. So if ever that particular institution composed of experts, expert individuals working in it, and it so happened that something misfortune happened, or maybe the trust is broken, just even to just one individual working within this institution, then that would cascade. The effect would cascade to the whole institution. So most likely, the trust will be broken, not just for that particular individual, but for the whole institution. So trust within social media is not vested in institutions; it is vested within visible processes. Okay, so this is what I said a while ago, that we trust, for example, a certain news channel in who has its social media account, not because of the people working in a particular institution. Rather, we look into its transparency. With that, we'll be able to build trust. Okay, so and I think with these issues like this, I think it's very there are a lot of familiar scenarios happening at present. So such as the shutdown of one of the major networks here in the Philippines. Okay, so um, well, a lot of people said that they are proliferating fake news, but then again, when we look at into other stations, we put high regard in terms of delivering news because we establish trust with that particular station. But then again, regardless if what you believe into, that is now your discretion. But then again, my point here is that we build our trust on a certain news channel, uh, on a certain news channel. It's because we see transparency. We see the people how they capture this information, how they process their information, how they write this information, and then how they distribute this information. Okay, so mass markets disrupted by niche effects. So this effect probably has fewer implications in short term for most organization, but in the long term has the power to be most disruptive. So social media is making it easier for to target or relate to much smaller consumers or customer segments, and this is making it possible to create businesses that target niche markets that were previously not viable. So in the past, it was difficult to be a niche brand. It was very difficult. So if not possible to be niche brand that could challenge the big players in terms of scale or the ability to operate in markets within which these players operated. This was because rather obviously niche implies that customers are spread out in such a way as to make them difficult to access or aggregate, and because the cost of entering a market and then competing with big brands for attention in retail or distribution space are significant. So you need to attract a large number of people to make these viable. Okay, so the bottom line here is that mass markets have been disrupted by these niche effects. It's because, for example, I am an influencer. Okay, so it's very difficult for me to promote my brand, and so in directly in a in a, for example, in an international stage. So what I usually do is that I will start with my colleagues in work, with my family, or among others. Then eventually, um, in other words, my target viewers for my vlog, for example, are not eventually those people living in other places or in other countries. Rather, I find support first with the community I am living. I am currently living. So by that, if I am able to create good contents, so eventually these will spread, and my audience now are no longer the people. I mean, will be expanded not just within the community, but even with across other communities. Okay, so and this has impact to big markets. Okay, so. Uh, to big markets because let's take they also have for example their actors or actresses um, doing vlogging. So sooner or later we might surpass the viewers with those actors and actresses from a certain institution. And so what this institution usually do, they will pirate those rising stars, and so you will be part of them. Okay, so that's their counterattack. Um, it's because again you are disrupting their market. Okay, so adapting to the post Gutenberg world. So how do we adapt with the post Gutenberg world? So in very brief terms, these are the new assets or competencies needed in post Gutenberg world. So one is content, the ability to start seeding and colonizing your digital space with broad range of discoverable content and information tailored to niche interest, which will draw the relevant people to you and help generate trust. Okay, so um, one asset or competency which one really needs. For example, when you are publishing information, is your content. Okay, so you need to understand what people currently are interested into. So of course you do not produce content which does not interest viewers. So who will view you will view who will view or who will read your materials? Next is conversation. So it's the ability to engage your key audiences and allow them to start to make contribution to the products and services you provide. So that is not simple to be passive receivers. And we also have community. So creating or supporting the ability of those people whom you have engaged in conversation to start to talk and transact with themselves about the issues relevant to the products and services you provide. Okay, so in a nutshell, so this is how we will adapt to the post Gutenberg world. So we start with a good content. So it's a good place to start, and that is making more information and making it digitally discoverable. So you have a good content, and of course, this has to be published in some social media sites, which are popular. Of course, you don't publish your content into platforms which has less audiences. Okay, so then we move with conversation. So as with most thing in life, it is easier to move horizontally rather than vertically. But you need to get some elevation in order to have credible conversation or create community. So again, if I am, for example, a social media influencer, so I need to while I'm publishing content, well, I need to converse. I need to converse into the community of people who are viewing my materials. Okay, it may be videos or it may be articles. Okay, so this is how I can create better good content because I'm listening what they are really interested, what they would like me to write or to vlog. Okay, so next we move to the community. So ultimately, where you need to get that is the to get to that's the ability to create, interact with, support relevant communities over which you may have no direct control or ownership. Okay, so that ends my presentation. So I get the information from this website, and again, the images were taken from various websites also, and these websites or sources were already reflected below each image. Okay, so your task here is you're going to work in group, then select one from the following topics: state of science and technology in the Philippines, role of technology in achieving good life, ethical dilemmas of robotics, genetically modified organisms, nanotech, stem cells, and climate change. Your task is to create a meme, which your group will eventually upload in Facebook, but refrain from using vulgar or offensive images and text. So in this activity, your goal is to receive a large number of reactions, shares, and comments, but not name tagging. So these will be your way to adapt with the post-Gutenberg revolution. So if the meme will turn viral, it means you have a good content, you're able to converse your thoughts well, and you have reached the right community or consumers. Okay, so that ends my presentation for today. Thank you for listening.